Hey there, I'm Anoushka. I'm a product designer. This is the second video in the UX app critique series where I pick an app and I analyze its design, usability, and functionality by being as objective as possible. And today's application is Perplexity, which is a free AI search engine which is designed to make information discovery faster, more conversational, and verifiable. As you all know, AI is pervasive right now. There are many AI first products and companies coming up. A lot of companies are trying to include AI in their existing products. So I thought, why not learn about how these companies are designing for AI experiences? And that's why I've chosen Perplexity. Now, why do we need Perplexity, which is an AI powered search engine? So, this is what I found in their FAQs page, which says that traditional search engines have become cluttered with ads and algorithm driven content, making it really difficult to find unbiased and high quality information. So, what Perplexity does is basically it flips this model where they put users first. So, instead of users having to go through like multiple links to find answers, they get a synthesized overview of the answers and then they can do a deeper dive if they want. And honestly, Perplexity can be used by anyone if you want to do a quick search or you want to do in depth research, or if you're looking for creative inspiration, you can use Perplexity for that. And before we start the analysis, let's set a scenario. Let's say that I was told by a friend that probiotics is good for you, and I want to do some research because I'm totally unaware of what probiotics are and hopefully find a probiotic that suits me and buy it. So let's use Perplexity to do some research. So right off the bat, the layout feels familiar to ChatGPT, which in turn was inspired by instant messaging apps. That is smart because it uses Jacob Law, which says that users expect digital experiences to work like the ones they've used previously, which makes the learning curve almost non existent. One thing that catches my eye is the animated voice icon. This gives the impression that the app is constantly recording, which may create a false affordance and mislead users. Typically, motion cues like this indicate active recording, which isn't really the case here. The weather and the top news section reinforce the search engine feel. However, I think here adding some example prompts or sample searches would be really helpful for first time users to understand what they can actually do with the AI powered search. So now let's actually start searching about probiotics. And one thing you can notice here is that the app supports multimodal input. So I just typed it out, but I could use voice as well as I can include some photos or files. So that is good for accessibility as it ensures that users can interact through their preferred mode. As the results are loading, I want to talk about latency, which is a critical factor in user experience of AI. Latency is basically how long it takes between the user's input and AI's response. And here, Perplexity uses a loading animation, which helps reduce the perceived wait time. When the results load, you can see the sources being displayed upfront. That is crucial for credibility since, unlike traditional search, users are not the ones choosing the sources themselves. And above the sources, you can see the search button, which actually reveals sources rather than initiating a new query, which could cause expectation mismatch. And I think renaming it to sources would align better with users' mental model. Now, it might happen that users won't be familiar with some of the websites, and there is no clear indication as to why the source was chosen. For example, the author, or it was popular article, or the date it was published, which are some key trust signals in traditional search. While users can click on each of them and check for themselves, for example, like this, uh, that would be very time consuming. And that's why a potential fix here could be showing as to why the source was chosen, whether it was based on domain authority, expert authorship, or relevance. Compared to traditional search, this experience is definitely faster. Instead of users manually sifting through sources, the search engine gives a synthesized response first and then lets users do a deeper dive if they need. That is a good balance of AI summarization and user control. Also, the search bar dynamically updates from ask anything to ask follow up, which is a small detail that reinforces the conversational model and uses AI's superpower to anticipate user need. If we go down, there are some related questions. The app also suggests these, which helps guide users into a topic without them having to think too much about it. This aligns with the Hicks law, giving users just enough choices, and in this case, around five, to keep things easy to process without overwhelming them. Let's click on what foods are high in probiotics. Right now, we have three questions in the whole thread, and I can see that it becomes a bit dense because this is just text heavy interface. So maybe scannability can be an issue here. I actually want to know which probiotics I should buy, so suggest some affordable probiotics. Okay. Now let's maybe look at the shopping feature. There is a shopping feature. Okay. So when I search for a product, I see a buy with pro button, but it's not immediately clear as to what it means. Is this a one click checkout? Because I can just go back and click on this link to Walmart and I can just buy it from here. So why do I need to pay $20 to buy with Pro? Does the Pro plan give me better prices or is it just fewer steps? What exactly am I paying for here? And that lack of clarity might make some users hesitate. I also noticed that the product ratings in Perplexity do not match the one on Walmart's website for the same product. Is this okay? Now it's not loading, but there was a mismatch in the number of ratings, and that might create some trust issues here. And if Perplexity is giving like an aggregate of the ratings from multiple sources, maybe making it more obvious would be helpful. If we go back, I want to see some other products. Now, in this case, we don't have buy with Pro for this product. I don't know why that is, but let's learn more about this one. Now, this is really helpful. The aggregated customer insight. I think instead of users having to scroll through endless reviews, this summary of what people are saying across different sources, maybe like Reddit and maybe within the websites. I think this is a really good example of AI making decision making faster because I can just look at these reviews which is showing me good and bad reviews, so I can take like an educated decision here. I think this is a really good use of AI. Okay, if I go to the product listing page again, okay, there's view more. Okay, I think there's one thing that's missing here, which is a very common shopping feature, that is the filter and sorting option. I cannot see that here. It is really common to see that in any e commerce website or app. And that means that if I want to compare prices or find the best rated products, I can't really do that in Perplexity. So I think maybe just having that would be really helpful. Okay, maybe they'll add it soon. The overall UI sticks to a dark theme which has its own pros and cons. Some of the pros being reduced eye strain, more aesthetic appeal, and focus on content because of the dark background. Brighter elements they stand out more, helping users focus on key information. Other than that, rounded corners on buttons and cards make it feel more approachable. There are gray dividers often used to separate between informations and sections. Use of lightweight line icons and sans serif typeface keep things clean and minimal. But there are some readability issues, especially the spacing between answers and follow up questions. If we go and revisit the thread, you'll see that the space is a bit tight, making it harder to scan quickly, especially when there are multiple follow up questions appearing in a thread. So maybe adding more white space could improve scannability. Since this app is so text heavy, a strong visual hierarchy is key. And right now, I see that there are different font sizes and weights being used for questions, headings, and body text. That helps. But when follow up questions stack up, the screen feels very overwhelming. And a couple of possible fixes for that could be one, a collapsible question thread, so users can expand and collapse the responses, and a table of contents view, so a summary or index for longer queries. Also, font sizes in some places might be too small for some users. For example, in this case, so three reasoning left for today, that has a very poor contrast, and that's why it makes it so hard to read it. And I think my overall thoughts would be they have done a pretty good job by sticking to conventional layouts, which works in their favor as it makes AI search feel familiar instead of intimidating. And conversational UX keeps interactions very natural. They're also being transparent about the sources, and they give users the control to do a deeper dive if they want. And I think lastly, a summarization of all the reviews, it really helps reduce cognitive load and saves up a lot of time, because the key decision making in the end lies to the end user. And there's definitely room for improvement, especially when it comes to uh, explaining as to why some of the sources were chosen, or the shopping feature, as well as why users need to buy the pro feature, like why do they need to pay $20 for that. So those are some improvements, but I think overall they do a pretty good job, and I really enjoyed using Perplexity. So do let me know how you think about this review, and try it, it's free. And thank you.